Good evening and welcome everyone to The Point. My name is Mark Heim. This is the program where we take a look at positive impact issues in the news and we delve into them a little bit more deeply. Tonight I have Karen Jez with me. Karen is the superintendent of the Titusville Area School District, and I think the last time I got to talk with you at any length was probably just after you arrived here several years ago, so I guess a belated welcome.
Yes, well, thank you. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I'm really the most interested in at the moment is you've obviously had time to have a lot of impact on the schools at this point. Can you think of maybe 3 or 4 of the most positive things maybe that you've seen accomplished in the school district since you've been here?
I think I would have to begin with the work that we've done on our strategic planning, and that is a requirement of the state. However, we took it to a level by which it became a working, living document, and it was a grassroots or a bottom-up design rather than a top-down forced design. We utilized the Middle States Accreditation for Growth model. And so every building had its own steering committee, if you will, with community, student, and employee input. And then all of the good work that they did across the district was shared up to the district level steering committee and compiled into the single document. And so we really have a strategic plan that is owned by all. And better yet, every single school in the district now has Middle States Accreditation for 6 years.
Now, I imagine this is something that just did not happen over a week's period of time.
No, it really was about 18 months worth of hard work, dedication, after-hour meetings, and compiling all of the work and all of these study groups and surveying and everything. But I think in the end, it really helped to move our district forward.
Tell me a little bit about the strategic plan. I've been involved in making strategic plans for smaller organizations. For instance, in Oil City, I was invited to work on the strategic plan for the Venango Area Chamber of Commerce. And I know we worked through that for 2 or 3 months, a much smaller organization. And we looked at specific things that we wanted to accomplish. What kinds of things did you address in the strategic plan? We
actually ended up with 6 overarching goals. And 3 of them are state mandated goals. And that had to do with student achievement, student attendance, and those kinds of goals. But we also, through our community meetings, learned that infrastructure, building safety, and those kinds of issues were very important, particularly to our parents. And so we worked on the mandated goals, if you will. Obviously, were about education and student achievement and the reading, math, and writing standards. But we coupled that with strong financial management, and then of the infrastructure and the buildings and maintaining what we have. And so all of that then built into the strategic plan.
Now, infrastructure has been something that's been talked about the last couple of board meetings. Now, those are the first 2 that I've attended in quite a number of years. And it's my understanding now that with the latest expenditure of funds, Hydetown and
Pleasantville, yes,
will be wireless capable this year.
Yes.
I imagine that was quite a task for a building that wasn't designed for that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we have been lucky in the fact that we've worked very diligently at receiving grant dollars, and wherever we can garner extra funds for the district, we do. And so we initially had E-rate funds to get some of the buildings wireless, and through the federal programs support this year, we're able to make all of the buildings except for the ECLC wireless. which really will enhance the learning capabilities of the students into the 21st century. And the hardest building to make wireless is Main Street, because it is such an old, however very well renovated, comfortable building, but the walls are about 1.5 feet thick. And so, whereas in some of the newer buildings, you could have one wireless point for every 2 rooms, you need a wireless point in every classroom, or the wireless connectivity wasn't going to work for us. So we really had to do some research and study on how to best manage getting all the buildings wireless in the most economical fashion, but yet make it user-friendly, you know, because you want the technology there for the students and the staff.
Now, I know that in making a building wireless, especially an older building, you're not able to often run cable and all of those things like you'd like to.
Right.
Does this mean that there's going to be a lot of external building, external things on the building?
Oh, like the raceways and things? No. As a matter of fact, we were able, because of the renovation, there was a track put in place in most of the buildings to run the hardwire pieces that you need. And for Main Street particularly, because of the thickness of the walls and things, we added an additional it's not a server, switch, an additional switch in on the 3rd floor to take care of the pieces that we couldn't bring up through the chase.
Now, you also mentioned a moment ago items pertaining to building safety. What specifically did you have to address there?
Well, we began with the strategic plan, and parents, of course, are very attuned to the unfortunate school shootings that we've had over the last decade in our nation. And that was a huge concern for our parents and our families, that, you know, at any point somebody could walk in a building virtually unseen, you know, if people are away from their desks in the main office and those kind of things. And so we started initially with some lockdown procedures, that doors were locked during school hours and those kind of things. And using the work that was done at Pleasantville, because that was one of the pieces that, through the actual state audit, that we needed to focus on school safety and security. Pleasantville became our pilot school for the camera system and the buzz-in system and the real true security program that we now have in place in all the buildings.
How are they working out? Are they doing what they need to do?
Yeah, they really are. And we did a lot of PR initially when this was all going to begin, and then we did some additional PR through our Connect Ed system over the summer. The principals had, during their parent meetings, talked about the security system, and we mailed home information. So we got pieces of information out to explain why and how the system will work. And truly, I've not had any complaints that they don't like to have to buzz in, and that the security system's working well.
It sounds like it's been pretty well accepted.
I think it has been. Yeah.
Now, the cameras, they're external to the building and internal?
Yes.
Okay.
We have all the large group areas, like the cafeterias, the hallways, the gymnasiums, the large group areas where there's a lot of movement at times. We don't have any of the classrooms covered by cameras, and then of course the exterior as well.
Now, I'm not sure who it was at one of the last board meetings, but mentioned that maybe on one of the first couple of days of school, the security system was a big help in alleviating some discipline problems.
Yeah, already.
Was that what it was designed for, or,
well,
or does it just help?
It was not designed for that. It was designed to keep the students and the staff safe, but it truly it's amazing, because the film is archived for 30 days, and so you can go back if there's, you know, vandalism, say in a restroom, or in this other case there was a a student person smoking on school property, you could go back and identify who the child is or who the children were that were in the restroom at the time, and and you can track it down far more quickly. The principals are finding that their time spent on investigating issues is really cut in half already in the first month of school.
Sounds pretty productive for them. Now, you mentioned that the strategic plan was one of a few things that you thought maybe were a real positive accomplishment. What might something else be?
I would have to say it took us almost, this is actually the start of my 7th year as superintendent, and that's hard to believe, but it took us almost 5 years from start to finish on the Pleasantville renovation project. We wanted to do that right. The board wanted to really investigate the needs of the building there, and we took a long time studying architects and architectural firms and interviewing. I think we ended up with 14 proposals, and we interviewed 3 various companies, and so that whole process was a learning experience for myself, and I think for the board and all involved. But then that building is so unique, and everybody it loves it. It's so warm and friendly, and the educational environment is just so welcoming. And I'd say that's a nice accomplishment to have.
Now, in the news down in Oil City, now I refer back to that because that's where my experience has been the last 5 or so years, but there's been a lot of talk about the buildings down there that need to be renovated.
Yes.
They've been looked at by a consultant and an architect, and they've found to have been lacking in a lot of things. How do the buildings here in Titusville stack up? It sounds like they're in pretty good shape overall.
We're doing pretty good. Gosh, it must have been the early to mid 90s. We did a similar study of our buildings and facilities and infrastructure. And that's actually as I was a building principal and not necessarily in leadership of the district. But then we had a plan in place for construction and renovation of the various buildings and a time frame built, which also wrapped all of the bond issues and debt structure around so that it maintained a level impact on the budget rather than spikes and those kinds of things. And so the last building that will need renovated will be the ECLC. And if you know about school construction and the opportunity to have some state help, state reimbursement, you're only allowed to garner those dollars every 20 years on a building. So we worked through that process, and the ECLC was built and opened in 1991. So it is now just coming to the point where we could, if, as you've seen in the news, the state may no longer give support. But if the state support is there, then we would be eligible to go after state support to renovate the ECLC.
Now, if that state money's not there, what then?
We would have to look at building our debt structure by which our capital dollars could afford it. It might not happen as quickly as we would like, but if you have facilities and buildings, and that's really what public education is, you have to have a place for the kids to learn, then you have to take care and maintain those facilities. And so we would have to build a financial program by which we could manage it.
Well, I guess one step at a time, or as a friend of mine would say, one miracle at a time. So you get to the point where the building needs to be renovated, and then you can start to figure all of that out. Okay, well, that's 2 positive things. You're on the hook for one more.
Oh, one more. Well, I think that it's not, it didn't start out as a positive. It's never an easy process by which you need to look at your entire your entire budget and your entire workforce and processes, but I think we came through the major cut from federal and state dollars fairly well. I think that we managed the money well. Sean did an outstanding job keeping us on track. The teachers, when we said, because we had to make some major changes in our employment structure and some things, and we really were in danger of losing our early childhood 4-year-old kindergarten program, and the teachers stepped up and the teachers said, we will take a wage freeze and we will help. We want to maintain and preserve that program for our children. It's what's best for them. So through the work of everybody, not just myself, everybody, including the teachers and their pay freeze and all that we did. And that's not to say that we didn't have to make tough decisions. We did. We had to furlough 7 folks, and through retirements, we actually ended up with 18 less positions in the district. But we came out okay, and we were able to maintain all of the positive programs and needed programs to support our kids. And that's a credit to everybody in the district, because without all those pieces coming together, we wouldn't have what we continue to have.
That's pretty impressive when folks step up to do things like that.
Yes.
We're going to take a break here and come back in just a few minutes, and we'll talk about some of the challenges that lie before you.
Okay. That's my cue to have a drink.
In the crease or at the plate, offsides or on the line, down at the 1 or up by 2. Catch all the action with Armstrong HD. Check it out free for 2 months, just in time for football, hockey, and the baseball playoffs. Armstrong HD has the best picture quality available. See your favorite sports channels like never before, including NFL Red Zone, the Golf Channel, ESPN, NBC Sports, and more. Call today and add Armstrong HD and HD Advantage free for 2 months. Armstrong, one wire, infinite possibilities.
Titusville chiropractor Adam Middleton welcomes you to the Titusville office of Middleton Chiropractic. Dr. Middleton is committed to improving the function of your nervous system so that you can have a higher quality of life. Through their office, you'll receive the best care through the use of modern chiropractic techniques and technology. Call us today and we can develop a chiropractic plan specific for you. 827-9970. Or visit our website for more information. Middleton Chiropractic, your chiropractor in Titusville. Country Acres Personal Care Home provides their residents with the care that they have come to deserve. The caring staff attends to the needs of its residents, and the home provides spacious rooms and bathrooms. And now Country Acres offers adult day care for those loved ones that need a little care during the day, while also providing respite care. For more information on Country Acres Personal Care Home, please call 827-3708 or visit them just past the airport on Route 27. Country Acres Personal Care Home. Wishing Alyssa, Titusville, and Maplewood the best of luck this sports season.
Colonial Machine Company in Pleasantville is a proud supporter of the Titusville Rockets. The Colonial Machine Company takes pride in their products, working hard to manufacture and supply a quality product that's priced right and made right here in the USA. The Colonial Machine Company would like to wish the Rocket athletes best of luck on and off the field and remind you that you are a product of your school and the community. So continue to work hard, play hard, and maintain the quality of excellence that Rocket fans have come to expect. Go Rockets from the Colonial Machine Company in Pleasantville.
Donovan and Bauer Auto Group is your GM home for Chevy, Buick, and GMC vehicles. Our lot is filled with new and pre-owned vehicles, and if we don't have it, we'll find it. Our staff will help you through the entire process, and we're here after the sale with our service department and collision center. Visit us online at www.donovanbauer.com to find your next vehicle, or stop in and talk to the pros at Donovan and Bauer Auto Group on the Hightown Road in Titusville. It's time to head outdoors and take care of that yard work. And at Morrison's in Titusville, they're ready to help. Whether it's rakes, shovels, wheelbarrows, or decorative stones and backyard accessories, you'll find the supplies and the experience at Morrison's. And at Morrison's, too, you'll find guns, ammo, clothing, and other accessories in stock. Plus, Jim has one of the area's largest supplies of musket and muzzle loading gear. Morrison's and Morrison's, too, on West Central Avenue in Titusville.
Hi everyone, welcome back to The Point. My name is Mark Heim. Karen Jez with me tonight. Karen, the superintendent of the Titusville Area School District. We've been going over some of the more positive accomplishments that you've been able to kind of shepherd here and there over the last, you said you're going into your 7th year here. So lots of things to cover in that department. What I'd like to talk to you now, maybe in the next segment of the program, is some of the challenges that you see facing the district. And we might as well just dive right in. What would be the greatest challenge to the district at this point?
Well, I think if we're looking at the academic realm, the challenge for our district and all districts is the fact that the No Child Left Behind, or as it's now being called, the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, ESEA, has not been reauthorized by the federal government. Everybody realizes that there's flaws there. The initial philosophy behind NCLB is that no child should be left behind, and nobody wants to leave any children behind, and everybody should be able to be educated to their fullest potential. But the challenge is, and the mandate is, that every child will be proficient by the year 2014. And there's a difference between individualized proficiency and a state federal mandated proficiency, because those are two very different concepts. And if we can bring children and have them grow educationally an entire year over a school year period, no matter where they start, they may be starting 7th grade with a 3rd grade reading level, but if we can bring them another year's worth of growth, that says something. They might not be proficient on that 7th grade test, but that's where the challenge is, because a single test does not indicate a child's true potential and the growth that they've made. And if this NCLB or ESEA is not reauthorized by 2014, every school in the nation will be needing improvement. They'll all be failing schools. We'll all be labeled as failing schools.
Oh boy, isn't that just great?
Yes.
I can see where that has caused a lot of hard thought in a lot of districts. Do you find, and I'll kind of come back to this later, but do you find that in some cases maybe teachers are teaching for the test or the ratings, or
you do. A lot of districts are teaching to the test, and that's unfortunate. The test is actually the minimum. It's where you have to be. It is by standard, but you can certainly go beyond that. But in order to ensure that the test scores are there, they're teaching to the test. We've taken the stand from the beginning of the PSSA world that if our curriculum is aligned to the standards and our teachers are teaching our curriculum, then the students should fare very well on the PSSAs. And that served us well. It really has served us well up until the last couple of years, particularly in the world of math at the secondary level. And we're not unlike most districts across the state. The math test is very challenging, and we've made changes. We got ourselves out of school improvement. We were there one year. The very next year we got out of the school improvement condition, but unfortunately it appears with the most recent data being released to us that we may be back in school improvement in the area of math, particularly at the secondary level. But they continue to raise the bar, and so you're not only being judged on an individual class and where they're getting, but the bar is raised, and so the standard isn't the same year after year. So it's truly an apples and oranges kind of comparison. So that's a challenge for all of us. And that's not to say that we're not going to rise up and meet the challenge. And we know that academics is what we're about. We want our kids to be highly successful in this global economy. It's just that it can be done in a better way, in a way in which the students feel the success. They just, at this time, just, it's going through the motions of taking this single test, and that really doesn't serve any of us well.
I want to take a look at this for a moment from the teacher's side. Most teachers that I've met are just full of passion for what they teach.
Absolutely.
For teaching what they love to the kids that are, you know, in their classes. I imagine that having to, even if the process is designed so that they are teaching the curriculum that is mandated for the PSSAs, how do some of the teachers feel? I can imagine that maybe they feel maybe they're stifled sometimes by what it is they can do and what they can't do.
Oh, certainly. I think that they do feel stifled. They might. I know they feel pressure. They want to engage students in the information and the activities and the learning projects and hands-on opportunities that will engage kids and really get them thinking critically. However, that's not always tested. And so then you have to balance the engagement and the excitement of learning for kids with what's being tested. And that's a real dichotomy by which the teachers feel this, they're anxious about it.
Yeah.
They really are.
It sounds like it's a program you love to hate.
Yeah. Yeah, really. That's a good way to say it.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
So these PSSA numbers, they come out every year.
Yes.
How do they, I sort of know the answer to this, but I don't know a lot about it. How do these numbers affect the district? Is there an impact on funding and other places?
At this point, there's not an impact on funding. It impacts the district through the district report card. And they annually come out and they'll say the district made annual yearly progress, and all the schools made annual yearly progress because we met the cut scores. Or they'll say the district made annual yearly progress, but the high school and pick some elementary didn't because of their math scores, or because of their learning support subgroup scores, or because of their economically disadvantaged subgroup scores. There's all these various calculations that are also attached by which you can or cannot make AYP. And at this point, it does not affect our funding. However, it does impact morale. It impacts school choice because we are in competition now. And that, I would say, would be another challenge that we have. And I welcome the competition because I really think that Titusville is an outstanding school district. But the challenge is to get the legislative group to level the playing field, because it isn't level right now. And so if we had a level playing field by which we competed with the cyber charters and the charters, we would be fine, because that's an area by which they don't talk about the fact that far less cyber charters and charters are making AYP than public schools. Public schools are doing much better than those choice schools, but they don't want to advertise that.
Okay, well, that's something I hadn't heard quite a bit about. Are there any other major challenges there? We've kind of hit PSSAs, we've hit, kind of beaten that into the ground.
Yeah, and school choice is a challenge, but I think we'll rise to that, and we'll make changes and do things, because we've already we have our own cyber school you know, you can't beat them, so join them, so to speak. And so we have a Titusville Area School District cyber school for kids in K4 through 12th grade. It's all of our own curriculum with our own teachers teaching. And because you're a Titusville Area School District child, you can actually have a blended school. You can come to our school and go to Tech. You can come to our school for art, music, and PE and stay home and do your cyber classes. It's very unique opportunities by which you don't get in other kinds of cyber schools. So we've made opportunities out of challenges in order to maintain our enrollment and do what's best for kids. Other challenges obviously will continue to be the financial challenges that we'll face. We just are uncertain about where public, and when I say public, governmental support for schools, both at the federal level and at the state level is. We're not sure where it's going to come down. I don't see it changing much until elections change and potentially leadership changes. So we'll have to continue, again, looking for opportunities for funds elsewhere and writing grants.
Well, the crystal ball at best looks a little cloudy.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's a risk you run. I've always, the business managers that I've met are busy making budgets months before they're needed to be passed, and I'm glad I don't have that job.
Yeah, exactly.
That is just really.
I'm glad I have my business manager. He's outstanding.
Well, listen, we were talking during the break about something else we'd like to cover too, and that is the role of the school system in being a good neighbor to the city. How do you see the school and the school district and the city and the communities that make up the sending district? How do you see them interacting? Where could that get better? Where is it good?
Luckily for Titusville, and it was this way when I came to town, I think it's a long-standing history and tradition that the schools have been the hub of the community, whether it's the Pleasantville community, the Hightown community, or the Titusville city. And we've always attempted to stand up and be good neighbors. And one example of that would be the collaboration between the district and the city and leisure services. For over 50 years, we've managed the rec and parks and recs in our community, and the district has continued to have the director and the secretary and several other folks on as our employees, and the city does a lot of in-kind work, and they do a lot of the parks maintenance kinds of things. And then, of course, the leisure services themselves, they go out and fundraise dollars. So it's a three-way commitment by which the after-school program, because that's really what it is for the children, after-school recreational programs, and then some adult programs for our community get done. And that's an outstanding tribute to the collaboration in our community.
Now that's a key word, collaboration. I wasn't real familiar with that when I moved back here to the oil region 7 or 8 years ago. But what I found out very quickly is that hardly anything can be accomplished anymore without some level of collaboration, whether it's at the municipal level or in the level of education or what have you. It sounds like the level of collaboration is really good here.
I believe that it is, and we try to be supportive of the various entities. The hospital called last year and said, we're creating a video to advertise our hospital and to helpfully garner doctors and things into the community. Can we also showcase your school our school district? We're like, sure, So because a strong community has a strong hospital and a strong school district, and those are two entities by which draw people to town, and people want to live here because we have those kinds of things. So we try to work together. We're very collaborative with the University of Pittsburgh at Titusville, and we're working even harder more recently in the for the future of Pitt Titusville, because we don't want to see that go by the wayside. That's very important to our community. We're members of the chamber. We're members in good standing with the United Way, and we raise about, with the Reese match, about $17,000 for the United Way annually. And so wherever we can give back, we really try to. We encourage our support staff and our teachers to get involved in whatever way they can, volunteering at various events and those kinds of things.
Well, it looks like it's about time for another break. When we come back, I'm going to throw the magic wand question at you.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. We'll be back in just a moment.
All right.
Titusville chiropractor Adam Middleton welcomes you to the Titusville office of Middleton Chiropractic. Dr. Middleton is committed to improving the function of your nervous system so that you can have a higher quality of life. Through their office, you'll receive the best care through the use of modern chiropractic techniques and technology. Call us today and we can develop a chiropractic plan specific for you. 827-9970. Or visit our website for more information. Middleton Chiropractic, your chiropractor in Titusville.
Venango Area Chamber of Commerce is committed to working with our members and the business community to leverage business advocacy initiatives that are critical to the success of the Venango County area. For us, it's clear. We build, serve, and promote businesses. Visit us at venangochamber.org.
Why sit and listen to others have all the fun when you could own your own above-ground or in-ground pool? Stop in to Strawbridge Pools and Spas today. Ask about their above-ground pool starting at $35.22, and that includes installation and the water. Strawbridge Pools carries Hayward filter systems and Hayward parts. Make a splash this summer with Strawbridge Pools on St. John Street in Titusville. Hi, folks. I'm David Bodemer. And no, I don't look like this, and I certainly don't sound like this in real life. But I do enjoy painting. And the point is, if you're looking for somebody to come and paint your house, or a room in your house, or several rooms in your house, I am more than capable of doing that. And no, I probably won't show up as a cartoon, but I will show up as a real person. So call me, David Bodemer. Bodemer's Painting today. I don't have eyes. How can I see to paint?
Your inner ear helps center you and gives your body a sense of balance. If you're feeling like the world is spinning or having trouble with dizziness and disorientation, it could be a balance disorder caused by a problem in the inner ear. A simple test done at Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates of Northwestern Pennsylvania can determine what is causing these symptoms, so you can soon feel right again. The Hearing Care Center, only at the office of Dr. Mark Maslov at Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates of Northwestern Pennsylvania. 4 locations, 3 specialties, 1 doctor.
Hi, this is Chris Feely, proprietor of the Lunchbox Deli at 115 West Central Avenue. I wear many shirts in the community, but the one that I'm most proud of is the brown and gold. Through hard work and dedication, our student athletes learn commitment, leadership, and communications. So I ask you, as a fan of the brown and gold, to go out and support our Rockets, whether it's on the course, on the court, or in the field. And above all, go Rockets!
Welcome back, everyone, to The Point. I'm Mark Heim. Karen Jez with me tonight. Karen, the superintendent over at the Titusville Area School District. We've tackled some of the challenges here in the last 20 minutes. Early on, we talked about the positive accomplishments of the district. Now I'm going to put a magic wand in your hand and say, you know, if you had 3 wishes and unlimited funds, what would you like to see done?
Boy, there's a lot that I'd like to see done. I think that I think first and foremost that we would have the we would continue to maintain all of the programming that we have for years to come, that we know have over years supported students in their academic and families in their academic success, without worry of having to cut any of those. So if I had the money, we would maintain the student assistance programming and all those kinds of peripheral things that help kids be resilient. I think that the next would be to maintain the staffing to a degree and a level by which our class sizes are good or better. We have okay class sizes. We had a lot of enrollments this year, and we have a couple of classes at the elementary level at 27 and 28. That's not terrible, but it could be better. It should be down around 22, 23.
Mm-hmm.
So I would want to have the money and the funds and have the space available to have a little bit smaller class sizes, because in this day and age, the more one-on-one, the better for our children. And I think the last thing I'd like to see accomplished with a magic wand is to really complete our career academy structure at the high school.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We've been working actually for about the last 4 years in redesigning our high school curriculum, by which it's more project-based, hands-on, authentic learning, where it's not just the bookwork. You know, that the math ties to the science, and the reading ties to the math, and the literature ties to the social studies. So it's integrated so that the students see the purpose behind all that they're doing. Because that's life.
Well,
you don't operate your life in silos, which is what a high school structure is, in silos. So I would like to have the funds to complete that and truly have our complete total project-based learning program designed and in place, where the kids have the opportunity for the inquiry and the hands-on learning.
We were talking for a moment during the break about a kind of hands-on learning where I guess the term is touching the earth or touching the ground. Does this academy situation provide for some of that also?
Absolutely, it would. Yeah, it would get the kids into the field, if you will, to touch and investigate and see really what's happening. Our ultimate goal is to have students leave the Titusville High School with some certifications. For example, the beginnings of an EMT certification, with their child development, child care certification. We do already have a approved program in the business education area. We're looking at potentially creating some approved programs in the technology ed. But with the Career Academy, the academic rigor is there, the math, science, social studies, language arts that you have to have, but it ties then to the career path, and the career paths are very broad, so that we're not pigeonholing kids. If they get into, say maybe they want to get into the arts and humanities career academy, well, that can lead them into nursing and various things. It can lead them into becoming a teacher. If they choose another career academy, it will lead them into a variety of opportunities for higher ed, whether it be trade or technical or four-year college kinds of things. We need our students to understand that any higher education that's appropriate for them is what they need to do. We can't say every kid will go to a 4-year degree, because that's not the best for every kid, and we have to be sure that they're trained in a wealth of opportunities to pick the best path after high school.
Now, one of the things that I'm familiar with is Venango College, just because I happen to live down the street from it in Oil City. I'm not as familiar with programs available at University of Pittsburgh at Titusville, so I have a learning curve to do in that department. But I know that at Venango College there's a lot of collaborative and cooperative efforts with industry partners to take students that maybe have some of that preparation already, or who want to get into a specific area to work for maybe a 2-year certification in something.
Yes.
How does this career academy funnel into a program like that?
It would be, and it would have the opportunity to have some of our courses articulate into those courses, and we do have articulation agreements with some of our regional schools, so that they actually get credit for what they're doing in high school as they're moving into a 2-year or a 4-year degree program. And so it's very important that we have those opportunities for kids, because number one, it gives them a leg up in moving on to higher ed, and it also is a financial benefit, because if those courses articulate in, those are less courses they have to pay for when they get there.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground, and I'm really very fortunate to learn about all of the fine things that are going on here. Now, I want to shift gears for a moment.
Okay.
A hot topic of conversation around here for a few days has centered around the idea that has been mentioned at, I think, the most recent board meeting, that maybe a way to raise a little more money for the district is to perhaps brand and copyright the school logo. I wonder if you could speak to that for a few minutes.
Well, yeah. We have done some investigation with that, and through our solicitor, he believes that we already own the copyright, if you will, that the Rockets mascot is the district, and that we shouldn't just arbitrarily give it away. That we should share it sparingly with folks, and be certain that those that it's given to are using it in an appropriate manner, and those that are making money off of it share the wealth.
Now, I can see where this might impact the good neighbor feeling.
Oh, yes.
How might that be addressed?
Well, I think that obviously you have to keep the lines of communication open. You have to sit down with entities such as Luke and yourself and the stream, and work out a system and an agreement by which both parties win. You know, and those kinds of agreements that we have been able to set up, the dollars that we're getting back from advertising, basically that's what it is, it's advertising dollars, goes back into support the programming for the students.
Now, this is an issue that I am not real familiar with. I've been in and out of the journalism business since 1975, and some of it's been educational issues, some of it hasn't, but this has been the first time I've heard about something like that. Mr. Proper, the board president, alluded the other night that there are more and more districts that are finding that. I guess I'm just kind of wondering, if I've never heard about it, where these districts are, and perhaps why now?
Well, I think that
they do it in Ohio.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, they do, and I think that why now is because we've never actually had to do a PR campaign. School districts just never have had to do that, rightly or wrongly, but we need to like I am here tonight. We need to toot our own horn, say what's going good, and those things that we own, so to speak, we need to be careful with them. And quite frankly, the Pennsylvania School Boards Association and their legal group are suggesting to board members, and that's where Dwight would be hearing it because he's a Region 1 representative for the state. They're talking about districts should be taking those opportunities with local business and manufacturers, and not only for our own branding, if you will, but letting them advertise in our facilities. And making and getting something for that in return.
Well, it's obviously a subject I'm going to have to become more familiar with, so I can talk with you about it more. We're rapidly closing up here, but in future conversations, some of the things that I'd like to touch on would be perhaps your philosophy on education.
Sure.
We didn't get to talk about that tonight. I've met some folks who see education as sort of a service industry to the community, and I'd like to explore your feelings about that at another point. There's a trend in schools these days to provide students with different kinds of access to health care, dentistry or medical or what have you, and I'd like to get your feelings, about that. How much is enough? How much is too much? That kind of thing. How responsible are the schools in forming kids? I mean, where's the line between what parents should be raising their kids with and what the schools are touching them with? Maybe we can hit that in about 5 minutes here, but I'd like to talk about that in another session. But maybe in a nutshell, you can kind of tell me that.
Well, at this point, we are a service industry, I think, to the schools, the families, and the students. We are, and I guess it's a philosophy by which we know we need to do it. Is it what parents should be doing? Yes, but it isn't happening necessarily in all of our families' homes, and so we have to have the services available so that the kids can be prepared, because if they're not emotionally, physically ready to learn, they're not going to learn. And so all those pieces that tie to that have to be managed before they're ready to learn.
I think we've done a pretty good job tonight in covering a lot of bases. We've talked about things that have been positive accomplishments for the district, things that make the district a good place to be.
Absolutely.
We've talked about some of the challenges that lie ahead that need to be done, need to be taken care of, things that there may not be answers for right away. And we kind of explored, in the best possible of all worlds, what we would want to see, in the schools if we possibly could. I have to admit, I think I did a better job this time around in interviewing a district superintendent than I did with Dr. Joe Carrico in Oil City. I think one of my first questions was, well, gee, Dr. Joe, the dropout rate is such and such. What's the district going to do about it? So, I think we got off to a softer start.
Oh, I think, yeah.
And we have lots and lots more things to talk about. I think we'll continue over time
Absolutely.
To see you back here, because what I'd like to do is sort of get a state of the district snapshot, every few months or so. And, we can talk about specific programs, how the sports teams are doing, all that kinds of thing. This was probably a preliminary or a primer to, what it is that, I'd like to talk with you, further down the road. So I think I'd like to, at this point, thank you very much for
Thank you.
coming in. And you came in, I must admit, on very short notice. I was having a tough time. I thought I had people all set to go, and it didn't work out. And it was just fortunate that we had an email conversation that worked out well.
Right.
So thank you, Karen
Yes,
Jez,
thank
Superintendent of the Titusville Area School District. Thank you for coming in tonight, and I hope that we see you again in the future. And
Absolutely.
to our viewers, I wish you all a good night. Thank you for listening, and on behalf of the staff, thank you for watching the stream.